Hey guys, welcome to the 5th episode of the I Am a Show Off pod. My name is Karina, Karina, and hopefully you will know by now that I am not the show off, but my company is Show Off Furniture. For this episode, I really wasn't sure what to talk about. As I'm recording, it's Thursday and there's no school today. Can you hear the happiness in my voice? It's a teacher planning day because in our county, they're getting ready to let some grades back in the school buildings tomorrow. Not my kids, they're staying home, but other kids. So at the moment, it's 9 a.m. and it's nice and quiet in my house. Some are sleeping and some are playing video games. And it feels good to take a deep breath and not have to adhere to a schedule today. Yay for me. So I can work in peace. A friend of mine mentioned the other day that I post a lot on social media. Like every time they log in, they're like, well, there go another 15 posts from Karina about Show Off Furniture. I post all over the place, and the majority of my posts end up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. I also post on LinkedIn, but not as much, because the vibe there is different, obviously, it's LinkedIn, and I like my posts that go there to have a certain aesthetic. So, like, if you go to the Show Off Furniture on LinkedIn, you're like, oh, look at this. Look at it, let me know. I'm still figuring out my flow on Houzz and Pinterest, so it's still a work in progress there. Oh, I also try to update Google and keep it fresh. So when people look up furniture and Show Off comes up, they get a sense of the style we offer. I don't say, why did I say we offer? The style I offer. I have to used to say I. I'm so used to saying we have this and we have that, but it is I. I. Me, Karina, me, I. And sometimes babe. I guess 20 years of working for other people will do that to you. Anyway, I've been asked a few times how I create the content that I post, so I thought I would share. Ironically, I'm also being told not to tell people what platforms I use and to keep it to myself, so not everyone can create content. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. We could all use the same content creator and come up with an endless amount of different content varying by product and style. So I don't mind sharing. I use this website called Canva, Canv as in Victor A, to create my posts. They have a free version, but I use the pro version because obviously you will get more out of it. As anyone who's starting something new knows, research, and more research is key. When it comes to social media content, a content calendar supposedly is ideal. I personally can't do that. To sit here and create content weeks in advance, my brain doesn't work that way. Plus, I'm only one person. It's feasible when you have multiple people working to create, but when you're solo, no. So on a good day, I can create enough content for 2 days, and those days are rare though. The norm for me is by 7 a.m., I'm finishing up in the kitchen with my laptop on the counter as I create the first post of the day. That goes up by no later than 8:15 a.m., then every 2 hours until 8 p.m. It can take me an hour to create a post sometimes. So sometimes you might look and be like, dude, she said every 2 hours. It's 10 o'clock and she hasn't posted. You know what? What was that? I knocked something down. Maybe I'll post by 11. Dude, don't clock me. But that's the ideal. Every 2 hours starting at 8. So at 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and the last post at 8 p.m. that night. What was I saying? Yeah. So it takes me about an hour or so sometimes to create a post. So a lot of times during the day, as you know, I'm listening to the kids' classes, but I'm also doing my thing with Show Off Furniture. So I could be on the phone or on a Zoom call with a vendor while I'm figuring out things like, does this shade of blue seem gloomy enough for a Monday blues post? Or does this gray accentuate this rug enough? Or what furniture quote should I go with today? Some of my suppliers think I'm crazy, and I'm okay with that. I realized a long time ago that I'm not everyone's cup of tea, just like everyone's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. A vendor asked how I was going to get Show Off Furniture on Google. I told him to Google it first before he asked. He's like, oh my God, you're actually on Google? Yeah, it's not a secret club. Anyone can do it, but people make things they've never done before seem impossible. There's a famous quote by Nelson Mandela that says, everything seems impossible until it's done. A few years ago, someone told me something in Spanish that stuck with me. El que no pudo, no quiso. which in English means the one who could not, did not want to. Everything has a way. And when you feel like you've exhausted every possible way with no result, have faith. Take a quick break and then try again. There's always a way. You may not have found it yet, but there's always a way. Of course, the process is frustrating. And sometimes it seems like strangers online support you more than people you know. Get over it. And when you reach your goal, remember who supported you and who did it. I'm a Leo, so I can get petty sometimes. But I'm going to try my hardest to keep that trait tucked away. On Facebook years ago, someone I know was selling, I don't remember. She was selling something. She had been doing it for a while, and she was creating Facebook groups about what she was selling. And then one day she went on a rant about how people would rather buy from strangers than people they know, and how her so-called friends wouldn't support her venture. I don't think she wanted her friends to necessarily buy from her, but to, I guess, cheer her on. I never forgot that rant, because I wonder why that was. Why didn't the people she knew, me included, share her venture on our pages and cheer her on? She had become so frustrated that she just let it all out one day. It's hard when you feel like no one's behind you. Luckily, I have Babe, my biggest cheerleader. On those days when I'm like, damn, traffic on the side was super slow and no one even looked at my posts, I have to remember how early in the game it is. On Tuesday, the site made 60 days of being live. 60 days, and I have done so much. I'll tell you. I created a website, negotiated with suppliers, visited said suppliers to view and pick assortments, created a webpage for the couple of hundred items on the site at the moment, interviewed and negotiated with freight companies, learned on the fly where and how to create business social media posts, content for them. And it's still a learning process, but I think I'm getting better every day. I've also created a blog, created a podcast, who, by the way, is now also on YouTube, in case your employer blocks podcast platforms, but do allow YouTube. So you can find us on YouTube. Get us, me. You can find me, Show Off Furniture, on YouTube, but the podcast on there is called I Am a Show Off Podcast, because if I just did I Am a Show Off, a bunch of other crazy things come up. So I Am a Show Off Podcast can also be found on YouTube now. I have been thrown so far out of my comfort zone that sometimes my eyes get watery, and all I can say is wow, because I'm amazed at myself. Before going into the furniture company that I was at before, I had been a buyer for both retail and e-commerce spaces. So I had no prior knowledge of all this that I'm doing now. But I'm not going to stop, because I'm not where I need to be. And even when I get there, why would I stop? I want to keep growing and learning. You need to have confidence in yourself to be able to do new things and allow yourself to mess up. People need to get to know you and your brand before they trust you. And I know that. So you guys already know that I'm Hispanic. So I'm all about my people elevating each other. And when my kids were younger, they were in predominantly Caucasian schools. So I taught them that we are beautiful. We are beautifully brown. And we come in so many shades of beauty, from light to dark and in between. Because I needed them to not only understand that beauty has no color, but also to have self-love. I met some Hispanic people who don't like the color of their skin, and it shows with their behavior. So I wanted my kids to be like flowers in a garden. A flower doesn't bloom and compare itself to another flower. It just blooms, and it's beautiful. Flowers come in endless amount of colors and shapes and sizes. They're all different, and they're all beautiful. Now my kids have a healthy amount of self-confidence, and it shows, and I love that. I've watched Latin History for Morons by John Leguizamo on Netflix a few times, and every single time I get mad. It's a great lesson on our people and what happened to us. When I started on my previous job, the furniture company, vendors would come in and explain to me who was in charge. Me, myself, I was in charge of the dropship programs, the conception, the creation, and the execution. And the vendors would come to me to try to explain what the term dropship meant. I think it was a combination of ignorance, sexism, and the so-called culture of the place. As I have said before, I'm not here to bash them, but to tell you about my experience. And in my experience, no one should ever apply to work there. It's a Hispanic company who prides itself on its heritage, but never in my 20 years in this business have I seen employees treated so bad, from the warehouse to corporate to the stores. I had to interact with a lot of people in a lot of different departments, and they confided in me how they hated, literally the word hate, that place. Ever work for a place where the bosses sleep with their subordinates for years or sexually harass their employees? Asking for a friend. When I started there, I was so excited because I thought, wow, I get to work for a Hispanic company doing something I enjoy. This is great. Brown excellence. My boss was a Hispanic woman who at first seemed cold, but like someone I could learn from and that will help me grow. It took two interactions with her to realize I was so wrong. I had never seen someone so hell-bent on sinking people on their own team. I don't like bullies, and this woman is a total bully. Ever sleep with your boss for decades and that be the reason you stay in your position and get to do whatever the hell you want and fire people for no reason and promote people from the stores with no prior knowledge of what they will be doing in the new position they are being promoted to? Asking for a friend. Ever work somewhere where you are basically forced to kiss hello and goodbye to your peers and your bosses, both male and female, because if you don't, they take it as a sign of insubordination? Yuck. I haven't been there for about 6 months now, I think, and they've downsized quite a bit, but the bullying continues and is getting worse. And by the way, these are not the rants of a disgruntled employee. If I could only share the stories people in the same business have reached out and told me. I had no idea people outside the building knew what was really going on. I realized when I started traveling for work and vendors would vent to me. Now they call me to tell me all the scandalous things that they've heard and they want to know if it's true. I had such an illusion for that place when I started, and what a big disappointment it was. But everything has a silver lining, and my silver lining is Shaw Furniture. I'm so happy and grateful that place gave me a job when I had no job. But that gratefulness is not blinded. Okay, I realize I have gone completely off course today, and Leo in me came out. So I'm going to put him away, and I'm going to stop there because I don't like to let him out too often, and I need to regroup. I'm not sure what the next topic's going to be about. What's today? Thursday. This goes live Friday, so the next time is Tuesday again that you hear from me. Not sure what I'm going to talk about on Tuesday, but if you have something in mind you would like for me to talk about or ramble on about, let me know. I'll be glad to hear from you. Thanks for listening, guys. I realize time is a precious commodity, and I appreciate you spending some on me. If you like what you've heard so far, please subscribe, tell your friends, and of course, please do share. Don't forget to check out the website, showoffurniture.com. Show off and then furniture. It's with 3 F's. It's a place where your personality? I don't know what that was. I'm tired. I'm not tired. That's just a habit of saying that. Show Off Furniture. It's a place where your personality meets your home. I'm also on social media. The handle is Show Off Furniture, just like the website. Everywhere except for Twitter, where it's Show Off Fern. Show Off and then Fern. Furn, still 3 F's. Until next time, guys, may we all have peace of mind and be at peace in our hearts. Bye.